Denver voters are being asked to approve a new tax on landlords, $75 per unit per year. It would pay for a legal defense fund for people facing eviction. A landlord group was real clear to our Steve Steger today. If they get taxed, they're passing it right on to renters.
The process is really opaque and people don't know their rights.
Eviction is one of those things that can follow someone for the rest of their lives and can often be a first step toward a problem Denver knows too well.
Eviction is this huge precursor of homelessness in a lot of cases.
Rent Echo is with No Eviction Without Representation, the group supporting Initiative 305 on Denver's November ballot. It would tax landlords to create a fund to provide anyone facing eviction legal representation.
It's funded by a $75 yearly tax paid out by landlords that would fuel this program to provide legal representation to all tenants facing eviction. The way that this works right now is it's treated essentially as an automatic process, right? Less than 1% of tenants have legal representation.
Our analysis of eviction data shows more than 5,000 cases have been filed in Denver courts since the beginning of the year, marking a return to pre-pandemic levels.
We should be focusing on real solutions like the lack of supply. Even rental assistance, we believe, would be more effective in this case.
No surprise here, the Apartment Association of Metro Denver, which represents landlords, is opposed to this new tax.
It's bad policy for the government to use taxpayer funds to pay private citizens to sue each other in civil court.
They say it will only add more costs for financially struggling tenants in an era of inflation.
A housing provider's revenue comes from rent, and so when you increase fees or taxes, that all gets passed to the consumer. The $75 per unit paid by landlords will end up being paid by residents, unfortunately. And that's just business.
Echo doesn't believe that will always be the case, and even if the cost does get passed on,
it would increase their rent by $6, right, which in my case is less than 1% of my current rent. This is sort of the same rights that we already afford to people accused of a crime, right? And so people are sort of like, wow, why don't we already have that?
So the Apartment Association argues that this would be like requiring medical malpractice insurance for doctors, which drove up the cost of health care. But there are other cities who've instituted similar programs, like New York City. 86% of people who were represented by lawyers provided by a similar program there, Kyle, stayed in their home.
86% stayed. Obviously, Denver's different than New York in terms of tenant protections, and I guess the goal wouldn't always be to keep somebody in their home, but just get them some legal help through the process.
The thought is if you have a lawyer, you might be able to settle something in court, which may not keep you inside that home, but at least it might keep an eviction off your record, which means it would make it a whole lot easier to find somewhere else to live.
Steve, thank you.